Minnesota at number 2, Ohio State. Ohio State is a 27.5-point favorite. We do not expect the Gophers to present much of a challenge to Ohio State, but tell that to Rutgers, who went into halftime up 9-7. Now, that game was different, but it has a lot to do with the offense, and the offense has been the bugaboo for the Buckeyes all season long. This offense is not one that we've come to associate with Ryan Day and Ryan Day quarterbacks and what they're capable of doing. It's an offense that hasn't had TreVeyon Henderson healthy the whole year and it hasn't had Mayan Williams healthy the whole year, but they've gotten enough from the running back room with Chip Trayanum and even Dallin Hayden there for a little bit. But the offense is Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay, if that dude is able to catch passes early and often, he opens up the rest of the field for those playmakers like TreVeyon Henderson, who is a home run hitter, who's liable to go off at any moment. And really, he's been the unsung hero behind 1-8 when they have had these games that have been tight. He's been able to burst and make these outstanding plays that give him over 200 yards from scrimmage in a game where Marvin Harrison Jr. might go for 168 yards receiving. But it's also Kyle McCord being able to look around and go like, okay, is 1-8 there? No, let me check to the run. And this offensive line is finally figuring out as to who they are blocking and how they're supposed to block them. And can this offense get going is the question that I have for them heading into Minnesota. Because if you can get everybody firing on all cylinders and we get the odd 500-yard offensive performance from a Buckeye offense that is run by Ryan Day, I feel much better about their opportunity to go into Ann Arbor and get a win in the game, because that's the season for them, right? It's use Minnesota to try to get Mecca Buka, TreVeyon Henderson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Cade Stover, all those guys touches and feeling good about playing offensive football, because this is the last opportunity you're going to have to play a team that frankly is not on the same planet as you in as far as talent. You ought to be able to handle them the way that Michigan was able to handle him. And that's the other reason you have to win this game going away, because people are going to say, who are your common opponents? And they're going to look at Michigan and Minnesota. They're going to look at you and Minnesota. They're going to look at you at Penn State. They're going to look at Michigan and Penn State, and on it goes. This is how you're going to be measured. So if you want that number 1 seed, if you're undefeated with a Big Ten championship game, this might be one for which we are all looking going, what did you do against a team that we don't think is that good? Now, on top of that, it's also the final game before the game that might come to define how we feel about Ryan Day going into 2024. I say we. How y'all feel about Ryan Day going into 2024, because I think Ryan Day is one hell of a football coach. He's only lost 6 games. But every Buckeye fan I talked to says, what do you do against Michigan? Like, that's their only question. They don't care about nothing else. They care about beating Michigan, hell or high water. I'm not even sure that they could go 7-5 with a win against Michigan. They still probably feel good about it. I'm not sure that they want to feel that, but that's the vibe I get from them. So Ryan Day's already, if not begun coaching for Michigan, he will start coaching against Michigan right now, right? Because we're talking about a dude that was also really having some conversations with himself about how thinly he was spread going into November right now with play calling, and how much of his head was in the offense or in the defense, and where he needed to be heading into what was the biggest game of the regular season. One of the reasons that Brian Hartline was elevated to that offensive coordinator position, Kevin Wilson went out to Tulsa, but also everybody wanted to see Brian Hartline in that position. We were talking about whether or not Hartline would be called in the place. That has not come to pass, but I'll be curious to see how he manages Minnesota and how that helps him or doesn't help him going into Michigan. See who has the play calling privileges. See if he's going to experiment a little bit more with how they run their sideline going into that game. Certainly going to be a boon to them to know that, oh yeah, they ain't got that dude on the sideline stealing signals from us. Whether that's placebo effect or not, I'm excited for it, because, well, that game is going to have so many far-reaching implications for the college football playoff. And I see a scenario for which both of those teams get into the playoff once again, being that we got 4 one-loss teams that could be one-loss champions, and no one-loss champion in a Power 5 has ever missed the college football playoff. So either we're going to see something we've never seen before, or one of those teams is going to catch an L between now and the conference championship game being played. If you like what you've seen, consider subscribing to the #1 college football show on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcast.